Yo, what's up guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. Two Gods Summoned to a Fantasy World by BenGrem1234. Chapter 12. Canady vs. the Magic King. After Chloe and Canady disappeared, they appeared inside the castle entrance. The castle was bigger on the inside than it was on the outside. Canady looked around. "Do you know the way, Goddess Chloe?" "Yeah. Follow me." Chloe responded to her. Both Chloe and Canady began entering deep inside the castle. As they were walking, they approached a massive stairs. The stairs was right inside a big hall that looked like a ballroom. Chloe closed her eyes and then opened it. "It looks like the queen is right above those stairs," Chloe told Canady. "We would have to climb it then," Canady said. "I really can't let you do that. No one is allowed to approach our queen uninvited," a voice said from behind them. Both Chloe and Canady turned around to see who said that. They saw a boy with black hair who was holding a book that was glowing in his hand. Chloe looked at the boy with little interest. "Are you also one of the elders of the vampires?" The boy looked surprised a little, but his face changed back immediately. "I am surprised you can tell considering my appearance. I'm not one to judge a person's age based on his physical looks. After all, I am much older compared to my looks," Chloe told him. Canady looked at the boy and could feel his magical power that was within. He was undoubtedly stronger than that Akano girl that Chloe killed. "Well, anyway, I can't let any of you to proceed further. By the orders of my queen, I've been instructed to stop you too," the boy said while opening his book. "That girl Akano said the same thing to me, but now she is dead. If you want to meet the same fate, feel free to keep challenging me," Chloe told the boy. The boy's face looked visibly shocked after hearing that. "You killed Akano?" Chloe noticed the boy's expression but still answered, "I did. She was cocky enough to challenge me even after all my warnings to her, so I had no choice but to take her life." The boy looked down with his hair covering his face. All of a sudden, a huge surge of magic power began to burst out of his body in hurricane. The boy released all his suppressed magic from their restraint, which began to shake the castle. Multiple cracks began to generate from the ground as the boy's magic power continued to grow. Canady looked visibly shocked while trying to cover her face with the sleeves from the clothes she is wearing. "It like there is no end to his magic." Chloe smiled. "He is definitely not joking around anymore." The boy looked at Chloe with pure hatred. "My name is Sanji, an elder of Queen Lilith, but many refer to me as the Magic King. I will show you why that is so." "I see. This should be interesting to see. Come at me then," Chloe said to him. "With pleasure. Prepare yourself," Sanji shouted as the two were about to engage each other in a fight. Canady went and stood in front of Chloe, which made her to stop. "What are you doing, Canady?" Chloe asked her. "I'm sorry for any disrespect, my goddess, but I would like to be the one who fights him," Canady said while looking at Sanji. "You do know that his magic power is bigger than yours, right?" Chloe asked her to be sure. "I'm aware of that, but it doesn't matter to me. I know that you can kill him in seconds if you wanted to, but to me, he is going to be the greatest opponent I will ever face. Please, I can't keep relying on you and God Rimuru to bail me out in every situation. I want to prove that I can fight too for you and God Rimuru." Canady told Chloe her true feelings. Chloe looked at Canady and saw the determination in her face, which caused her to sigh. She turned around and began to walk away from them. "I will be going after the queen then. Go back to Rimuru after you are done." "Yes, my lady," Canady responded. "I won't let you escape," Sanji said as he created multiple large beams of light and shot it all at the retreating Chloe, but a barrier appeared and blocked all the lights. Sanji turned and saw Canady with her staff pointed in the direction of where Chloe was walking. He figured that she was the one who created the barrier. Canady looked at Sanji. "Your opponent is me?" Sanji clicked his tongue in annoyance. "Then I guess I have to finish you off quickly and other to go and kill that goddess." "Do it if you can, but I will assure you that your defeat today will be by my hands," Canady told him. Sanji glared at Canady. "Let's see what you got then." Canady raised her staff and summoned multiple fireballs and sent it to where Sanji was. Naive. Sanji raised his hand and shot out multiple balls of water at the approaching fireballs. When both attacks collided, it caused a massive steam vapor that covered the entire room. Sanji looked inside the vapor and saw Canady waving her staff around. Canady was waving her staff around and in the process, generated a massive wind which blew of all the steams. The wind kept on increasing and increasing until it formed a giant tornado. The tornado began to blow and suck in anything at its part. Canady sent the tornado at Sanji, who was still watching the tornado in surprise. The tornado began to approach Sanji, but Sanji was prepared. "Black hole," was what Sanji said. Immediately, a black hole appeared in front of him and began to suck away the tornado at a very fast rate. Canady expected something like this, so she made preparation when Sanji was still distracted from the tornado. She raised her staff and released a massive amount of mana into the air. Immediately after that, the roof of the room they were in broke down and revealed a massive dragon head made of lightning. Sanji had a genuine surprised look from seeing the lightning. How can a human wield such power? Don't underestimate humans, vampire. Our time of suffering by your hands ends today. Prepare to die, Canady shouted. Following her shout, the lightning dragon head roared and with speed faster than lightning, descended on Sanji. "This won't beat me, human." "Barrier," Sanji said as a barrier appeared around himself to block the attack. The lightning dragon head descended at Sanji. When it made contact with him, a huge lightning explosion occurred which destroyed and obliterated the entire room, which was half of the castle. Canady flew up before the explosion could occur to escape the damage. She was in the air and was watching to know if Sanji survived. After some time, something flew out of the smoke and approached where Canady was, at a very fast speed. Canady didn't know what it was, but she still dodged away from it. The thing stopped opposite from where Canady was floating to reveal that it was Sanji, whose clothes were torn. Sanji glared at Canady with hate. "I didn't think a human could injure me, an elder vampire, but no more. I will use my true powers to crush you." Canady brought her staff in front of her to defend from whatever it is Sanji was planning to do. "Break," Sanji said. Immediately, Canady felt all of the bones in her body breaking at a fast pace. It was incredibly painful and she wanted to cry, but she couldn't do that in the middle of a fight. She tried to cast healing on herself. "Fall," Sanji said again. Canady felt an unknown force push her with force to the ground. She hit the ground with great force, which caused a massive boom to occur on the floor. Canady was lying in the cracked ground with all her bones broken. She didn't know what happened, but she was helpless. "You might be wondering what happened to you, right? I will enlighten you. I possess the power of words. This means that whatever I said will become a reality, though it has its limits. Like I can't say die and someone dies, but I have many means of arriving at that conclusion," Sanji explained to her. Canady couldn't believe that an OP power like that existed. She was truly helpless to that kind of power. All she knew were basic spells which she modified with her new power-ups she received from God Rimuru. She has nothing she could use to win this. Except for that, but she would have to time it. "Whatever it is you are planning will not work. Accept your fate and die human." "Burn," Sanji said. Flames appeared from where Canady was lying and began to burn her. "Ah!" Canady screamed in agony because of the flames that was burning her alive. All of a sudden, the flames disappeared and left the Canady half alive. "I won't kill you so soon. I want you to suffer more before you die." "Lightning," Sanji said. A huge lightning came down from the sky and struck Canady, who was still lying on the ground. She didn't even have time to scream as the lightning hit her without mercy. After the lightning was done striking her, Canady was lying lifeless on the ground. By some miracle, she was still breathing and conscious, but the pain was too much for her to bear. Her arms were destroyed and her left leg was missing. Her right eye was damaged and she has many burns in her body, but she was still alive. Sanji looked at her burned. "I suppose it is time to finish you off." Sanji raised his hand and a massive fireball began to form in the air. The ball kept growing until it became the size of a meteor. He intended to throw that big fireball at Canady. Some might say it was overkill, but Sanji didn't want to take any chances of Canady surviving. Canady weakly raised her head and looked at the big fireball. "It is now or never. I have to use it." "Switch," she said. Immediately, Canady stood up with all her wounds gone and disappeared. She picked up her staff and turned because of the scream she heard. "Ah!" Sanji screamed in agony as he fell down from the sky and hit the ground. Sanji didn't know what happened. One moment he was preparing to finish off Canady and the next, he was gravely wounded. His arms were destroyed and his left leg was gone. His left eyes were destroyed and his body was burned. It was like all the wounds he gave to Canady has been transferred to himself. Canady approached Sanji's fallen body. If you haven't figured it out, then this is my power switch. It allows me to exchange all injury I acquired with anyone I want, thereby healing me and transferring all my injuries to whomever I want. I can only use this move once a day, but at least it was enough to defeat you. My god Rimuru gave me this power as a last trump card for any opponent I face that is stronger than me. You have a good healing as a vampire, but an injury like the ones you inflicted on me will take time to heal, a time I won't give you. Sanji weakly looked at Canady. Wait, what are you trying to do? Canady pointed her staff at Sanji and began her incantation. Darkness blacker than black and darker than dark, I beseech thee, combine with my deep crimson. The time of awakening cometh. Justice, fallen upon the infallible boundary, appear now as an intangible distortions. Many magic circles began to appear and surround Sanji. Massive amount of mana began to pour out from Canady's staff. Sanji looked at the magic circles that started to surround him in fear. Please don't do this. Think about what you are doing. My queen will never forgive you. He couldn't use his power of words because of the amount of pain he was in. His brain could not focus on anything due to the pain he was in. Canady looked at Sanji with pity. You were a strong opponent and I would have loved to learn more about you, but sadly I cannot. You are evil and you've hurt a lot of humans during your lifetime. Repent on your sins in your next life. Explosion. A massive explosion magic shot out from her staff and engulfed Sanji, who could do nothing but scream. The explosion was so big that everyone outside the kingdom saw it. Sanji was vaporized without a trace from the explosion. After the explosion died down, Canady knelt down with one leg and other to rest. She was resting when the magic book of Sanji flew out of the smoke and approached her. Canady looked at the book that was floating in front of her in interest. The book opened itself to a page which had something written on it. After the book opened, it shined and released a bright light which was shot at Canady. Canady was at first surprised, but then knowledge began to enter her mind at a fast rate. After the light died down, the book fell to the ground and turned to ash. Canady looked at her hand in surprise. So that's the power of words. It will definitely come in handy in the future. But first, I need to return to God Rimuru and the kids. She flew up and began head to where Rimuru was. She knew where he was because she could feel the amount of mana being released at that place. She was not worried because she knew just who Rimuru was.